2017 to order, please. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Can we have a moment of silence for those 6 injured people in the shooting at the congressional baseball practice at Virginia Park today in Alexandria, Virginia? Please, dear Lord, bless themselves and their families. And God bless America. Okay, we'll start with the roll call attendance, please. Oh, we better introduce our new clerk. This is Sherry Quinn.
Tom?
Here.
Kathy? Here. Sue? Here. Mary Agnes?
Here.
Sherry? Here.
Okay, we'll have the agenda approval, and then we're going to switch right to a visitor guest that we have. If there's any additions or deletions to this agenda, I'd like to hear about it. I would like to add the hearing consultant. What did I do with them? I didn't bring them, I guess. Oh, yes. Hearing consultant invoices that came in yesterday. So if we can, if we can put that as new business number 14. There is also a legal question that we will probably have to go into closed session for regarding a settlement. And if this meeting goes past 9 o'clock, if we're not substantially finished, then we're probably going to have another meeting tomorrow night to clean it up, because we've got lots of things to move on here. So if we could add those 2 items, we'll put the legal at the end of the meeting if we can. Is there anything anybody else would like to add?
I did give each of the board members, and I placed additions in the packet for the bank reconciliations. There's one there through the BS&A program for tax and for general checking, just to give you an idea of what the treasurer's office had been doing all year long each month. That was including Julie and Patty. That's how they were doing their bank reconciliation. So that's May's. I also added, I saw that you had the 4029s as item number 11. I added the school 2 4029s. I added 2 of them. I wasn't aware that you had received, until I read this agenda, that we had received this one. So there's 3 of them now. I added that to 11, F11.
Okay, do we have to add this?
I don't know. That's why I want to make sure they were part of what you had on here already. We just received those. This is for our summer taxes.
Oh, okay, this is what?
The 4029s.
Yeah.
And
But this one here, the one that I put in the package is for the college.
right. This is for East China, and for the other, first one is for, I'm sorry,
That's all right.
operating,
Okay.
and that's from St. Clair County.
Okay.
And this one is from East China School District.
Okay.
So I just wanted to be part of it.
I'm gonna
Those were added.
pick on Bev here. Is that normally what we have to do?
I'm not sure what you're talking about.
4029 is the millage rates. I saw on F11 of the agenda, it shows the collecting, operating the mills. So I saw that there was a 4029, it's a form 4029 that the clerk had received, and I just want to make sure that they're all there in case they needed to be before we do the summer taxes. I didn't want to take a chance that they weren't supposed to be presented.
What she's going to be doing, so it sounds logical.
Okay, all right, very good. All right, because I've never seen it on the agenda before, so.
And then I had one other thing on the minutes C1C. Let's see here. I put the page on there, and this was about, I'm just following up. This was about the outstanding checks. And I did find out paragraph 2 on page 2 for board minutes May 10th. The
Wait a minute, let's get that.
Page 2, it says there was a report that was run at 2:30 about all the outstanding checks. That was incorrectly run through the bank reconciliation program of the BS&A program, the software. And there was no balance placed in the reconciliation, which is part of the process. And there was no date ending May 31st. So for whatever reason, these all showed, but you don't do the May reconciliation until June. So you can see in the May reconciliation that we only have $21,000 in outstanding checks, and that's normal. Those are checks that haven't come through yet. The other checks, when I do a bank reconciliation, I clear those off my bank statement. So everything that was open were checks that were coming in from April, the end of April and May. And so I wanted to strike that because that's not correct. So I had to call BS&A and have them delete the bank reconciliation that the clerk ran in order to do my bank reconciliation for May. So I was asking that paragraph be struck from the minutes. Paragraph 2.
I don't think we can strike it because it did take place. And that was a discussion. And I'm afraid BS&A did run that for her. She didn't.
BS&A did run it, but it was incorrectly run for her. She should have done it through accounts payable, but she asked to go into the general ledger and do it as a bank reconciliation. And you can see that in the windows of BS&A, the only other time that a clerk went in that program was in 2014. So this was incorrectly done. I have all the paperwork here.
Well, we can note it. We can't change the fact that it was said because that's what was said. However, what we can do is make a notation in today's night's meeting that that you had a problem with it and that it can't be struck, but it will be.
Okay. I just want to make
it
it
in the record that you had a problem with it.
Well,
Okay?
I'd be in the record that there was only 20 for the minutes. You can see on the bank reconciliation. That would be 2A. That there's only, give me a moment to get the bank rec. You guys have it in front of you.
Here, get mine.
I have to go through mine.
It's all right.
The outstanding checks for the month of May, $21,851.67. Those are the only outstanding checks for the month of May.
That's good.
So that's what I would like noted.
And that is only 20 checks.
Right, instead of 500,000. So,
Okay. Other than that?
one other thing.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Deletions.
Okay, yeah.
I'd like to delete item number 3. We need to look at that and tweak it a little bit because of training that we've received. We need to dissect it into the different types of tax payments we receive and refunds. And
You
that's
would
it.
like that removed from the agenda?
Yes,
Okay, we
please.
can do that too.
That's all I have.
Anybody else? All right, so we got new business number 14, add Huron consultant invoices. We have a legal closed session for a settlement. We have delete the agenda item number 3 under new business F3. And make the notation on the minutes of May 10th on page 2 that she would like that noted that she has updated the May records, and we have 20 outstanding checks to the tune of $21,851.67. Okay, do I have a motion to that effect?
I'll motion to approve the agenda
With those corrections?
with those
All right,
corrections.
do I have a second?
I'll second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. All in favor signify by saying aye, and a roll call vote. Please, Sherry?
Tom,
Yes.
Kathy,
Aye. Sue?
Yes.
Mary Agnes?
Yes.
Sherry? Yes.
Motion carried. Thank you. Now we're going to switch gears here, and we're going to introduce Terry Wilmouth. She works for St. Clair County Homeland Security. She's got a 15-minute PowerPoint presentation, and she's in the Emergency Management Office. She's an AmeriCorps Points of Light Ready Corps member, and she's going to give us a 15-minute dog and pony show.
Pretty much. Okay, thank you for that introduction, and it might not even be 15 minutes, but we'll get going. Okay, so I'm working with the county, and what I've been doing, Jeff Friedland, who is our county emergency manager, has me going out to different township meetings just to let you folks know what we have available as far as resources that we can come out and do training, and what we're doing. So Points of Light was established by President George H.W. Bush, and it's the largest global volunteer organization in the world. And our mission is to educate individuals, families, and neighborhoods on being prepared. We've been collaborating with different businesses to improve safety plans and recruiting and training volunteers. We haven't gotten too many of those, so we're going to be gearing toward that a little bit more. What we're out to do, again, is to reach out to businesses and community members. We want to establish a network of volunteers, because when you volunteer, when we have a big incident, say the big windstorm we had with power outage back in May, no, it was March, wasn't it? March. It was interesting to see how many people come together, come into the EOC when it's activated, and what they do. It's very interesting, because a lot of people have no idea what we do. But we do a lot of planning, because you never know what's going to happen. And I was saying earlier to some of the folks I was talking to before the meeting started, is that it seems like the townships, they've got it going on. You folks have got it going on as far as you're still neighbors. You take care of each other. And that's a good thing. So that we don't have to talk too much about. But just a show of hands, how many of you have an emergency kit in your home? Set up, ready to go. Okay. It's all right. It's not a pass or fail. It's just kind of an idea there for me. Okay. We also work with the the Youth Readiness Council. And those are 8th graders that are going into high school and 11th graders. And they do different projects through the county. And a lot of our programs we gear toward children. I've been doing a lot of after-school programs. I worked at the YMCA. We're just trying to get the word out to as many people as we can. And we want to expand our Reading Neighborhood program. Our partners, local partners, of course, the Homeland Security Emergency Management, Youth Readiness Council. I just did a presentation, or actually I was at an event with the Sons, which is Save Our Neighborhood Streets. It was their 25th anniversary. We've worked with the YMCA, we're working with the Salvation Army, and we have some corporate sponsors. Starbucks is one of them. And then I have to go over here and clip this little video.
Oh, unpreparedness. Him? That's disaster. He doesn't have too much to say. He's been hanging around more and more, although he's usually not this easy to spot. He's a busy guy. He's always up to something. You know, he's taught me a few lessons, like if you know when and where he'll show up, it's easier to take action. But it's those unexpected visits that do the most damage. And that's normally how he works. It's not like he's in the habit of calling ahead.
Hey, disaster here. Yeah, I was wondering if you're available for a chemical spill. Wednesday, maybe 1 o'clock. No? No good? Oh, I got a new thing I'm bringing in. Earthquakes. You'll love it. I'm shipping them in from the West Coast.
No, and it's not like he's always there, constantly reminding you to be prepared and to get ready. If he were this annoying, I'm sure you'd be ready for
we want to thank our friends in Kansas City who put that on YouTube and we borrowed it. The point is, you know, there's a little levity there, but the idea is just to get people thinking. And if you don't, there were quite a few hands that didn't raise when I asked if you have a kit. And our research shows that people who thought they were prepared are not as prepared as they thought. 40% of survey respondents didn't even have household plans. They had not conducted home evacuation drills, 80%, and 60% didn't know their community's evacuation routes. And we were just doing a practice exercise today, and we were talking about if we say we had an incident where we didn't have power for 8 weeks. Imagine that, 8 weeks, and just think of all the gridlock and trucks, the borders closed. I mean, it would really be a job, that's all I can say. And are you prepared? Of the 20%, nearly 20% of responders reported a disability that would affect their capacity to respond. So you have to start thinking about your folks that are bedridden or in wheelchairs. And of that 20%, one quarter of these people did not have, it says have, but it should say did not have specific arrangements for their disability to get out in case of emergency. So are you prepared? Preparing for an emergency situation is easier than you think. And you need to have a plan where you spend a great deal of time. So home, your neighborhood, your business, your school, wherever you spend a lot of time. Car, it's good idea to have a car kit too. And it starts with you, which you saw in the little video. We are here to support you, but I think most people know that the government is not going to come running into our aid right away. So that's why we teach, please have at least 3 days of food, 3 days of water for everyone in your household. When you make a plan, where will you and your family meet up? I just did a presentation yesterday to a group of retirees, and one of the people there was telling me that their neighbor decided they were going to use her porch to go to in case of a fire. And she's like, okay, you know, they just had to have a meeting spot. Whether it's a big tree or the mailbox or whatever, if there's a fire in your house and you have children, you need to do an evacuation so that they know how to get there and just have a meeting place. And then once you're prepared, look around you. Are your neighbors prepared? What assets does your community have? I have no idea. You know. The Ready Neighborhood program, we've got, I believe, Algonac is participating, and I think Clay is going to be next. And this is open to anybody for Ready Neighborhoods. You get to know your neighbors, and the best defense against disaster is being prepared. And the people around you are going to reach you the fastest. So we have approximately 136,000 residents in St. Clair County, and we have approximately 800 first responders. So do the math. They can't be everywhere at once. So if you can take care of yourself for at least 3 days or longer, that's going to help them help you. And every community is unique. Whatever Algonac is doing may work for them, may not work for you. Whatever Greenwood Township's doing may not work down here. You have to decide as a neighborhood what's going to work for you. And everyone has something to offer. You might find that in your neighborhood somebody's got a generator, maybe someone's got a chainsaw. It's just nice to know your neighbors to help out. And to do a Ready Neighborhood, you get together, you get organized, and you enhance your neighborhood. And this is merely someone says, okay, I'm going to have coffee at my house, come over at 7 o'clock, we're going to get together, we want to start this Ready Neighborhood. And that's as simple as can be. Easy way to start. So you want to build a team? Again, just meet at somebody's house. Step 2, organize, create a plan, identify a meeting place for your neighborhood, and have a first aid location, and create a map of your neighborhood for everybody. And 3, practice. Practicing your plan can help identify flaws or gaps that you may have, and it increases your chances of success. The next stop is to serve your community. Learn about emergency response plans, drills, and exercises, and creating an event that promotes safety and preparedness and raises awareness. That's what we're doing. Other communities. Communities are not just houses and apartments. We have a Ready Business program that we can come and present for you. Because is your workplace prepared? Do you know your work's evacuation plan? Have you ever practiced it? And Ready Congregation, this is news to me. A lot of churches now, their insurance companies are requiring them to have an emergency plan. Because unfortunately, things can happen anywhere. And that was proven today at the ball game, at the practice. There was shooting in South Carolina a couple years ago. No place is safe anymore, people. Really isn't. But at your place, do you have an place of worship? Do you have an emergency plan? And are they prepared? We do, like I said, we do a lot of kids programs. We have Kids for Safety, and that focuses on ages 5 to 11 about safety and preparedness, as well as our STEP program, which is geared for older kids. And then again, I'm here, and there's another point of light person. She's not here tonight, but there's two of us. And we're just here to help you. If you want us to come and do these trainings, we can do that. If you have a council on aging, we can come and talk to them. Whatever you have, we're here to serve. And that's it. Any questions?
No,
Okay.
very nice.
Thank you so much. Thank you
Thank
for
you.
having me.
Thank you, Paul. Okay, let's go with the consent agenda. We have minutes, which we've already discussed. The rest of them, I think, were all right, were they not? Anybody else had any question on those? If not, we're going to proceed to the treasurer's reports. That was dated May 31st. Everything is here. The approval of the clerk's reports, the revenue and expenditure report from May 31st. Approval of paychecks, accounts payables, and the opens and the pays, and there's zero due on the copy of the Fifth Third corporate credit card account. And then there's correspondence. We're going to remove 4B because the fire department didn't supply that to us from IRA. We have a letter from Verizon Wireless that we wrote quite a long time ago with the assistance of Chairman Pat Runyon, who put together a rather lengthy letter asking them to give us a hand with that tower. They kind of blew us off, so we're going to have to start digging in a little bit. The email from the cannabis legal group attorney Craig Aronoff, that came to us by email. He has a piece of property that one of his clients wants to develop marijuana, grow marijuana on it. So that's been turned over to the Planning Commission, and that will be discussed on the fourth Wednesday of this month. The letter from Huron Consultants regarding the Department of Environmental Quality, which was our second violation notice, that's included in your packet. And it's already been answered and sent to the state. So if there's nothing that anyone has any questions on the consent agenda, I would entertain a motion to approve.
I have a problem.
Sure, go ahead.
There is, for the check register, there's a check to West Simon's Trucking, that's your business.
Yes,
You can't do that.
I can't do what?
You can't have your company work for your township.
Well, you can with permission, but that's, I mean, we've taken
No,
care of that for 40 years.
Yeah, I know it, but that doesn't mean it's right. I don't think, I read somewheres in MTA or somewhere, you can't. Otherwise, we could all work for our township and just go do jobs and you could write us a check. You can't do that.
Okay.
That wasn't even okayed, as far as I know.
It was in the payables. You're about to approve it right now.
Well, I don't approve of it because I don't think that your company should be working for your township.
Okay, even though we've been doing it for 45 years?
No,
Okay,
I don't. And I think it's written somewhere that you can't do that.
well, do we have anybody else that wants to dig graves? I mean, I take care of 5 or 6 cemeteries in the area. Do you want me to?
But not in your township and.
Oh, yeah, they're all in the township. 3 or 4 are in the township.
Well, yeah, but they're not township. It's not a township cemetery.
No, it is not.
So have you ever gotten a price from anybody else?
No, because it's been something that was passed down from my father-in-law and his father before him,
Yeah.
and his I mean,
But
two
then
of
that
the
means that-
cemeteries are back to when
Yeah.
Lincoln was president.
But that means that Tom can just come in and do some work and give you a bill and you pay him. And it's not supposed
Would
to
you
be
rather
done.
Tom do the cemetery?
No, because he's part of the township too. You can't have somebody working for the township when they're on the board.
Okay, well, do you want me to stop this immediately? Because I have a grave on Tuesday, so.
Well, I think we should find somebody else to do it. Is this reimbursed,
Is what reimbursed?
this $125? By, did you-
Reimbursed.
Is this somebody's grave?
Well, the check was made out to the township,
Yeah,
the 150, and then that's what I was trying to, what was done previously when Don Chop was doing it, he was charging, I think, $600, or maybe it was $500 a grave, and he was taking all of it, and the cemetery wasn't getting anything, and when I do a grave, I do it with the money coming into the coffers.
She's talking about the check for
yeah,
125.
yeah.
That was just that was only a cremains. It was a little
Okay.
box.
Okay. Did the people who belong to this, do they pay for it?
Yes.
Okay.
Well, either that or the cemetery. I can't remember. Who-
Okay, well, the check was written out to your business.
Right.
And I know it's not supposed to work that way, so.
Well, I'll return it if you want.
Well, I'm just saying, it shouldn't work that way.
Okay, well, I'll return it if you want, but then you better find somebody to dig that grave on Tuesday.
But I'm saying it shouldn't work that way.
Well, if there's anybody, I mean,
Well,
we
I
can
mean, if they all
advertise, but then
wanna-
what do we do
If they all
then?
want to pay it, okay, but I read where you can't do that.
Okay, well, I'd like to see that, but, you know, we'll
Well,
go
it's
with
in-
whatever. If we need to have a vote, then I'll return the money if that's what you want, if that's what the rest of the board wants to do.
Aren't
we have a motion to-
aren't we supposed to, if it's, wasn't that something in the audit where if somebody within the township board has a business, we need to let people know before, you know?
Well,
I saw the check, I saw the invoice. I didn't know it wasn't, I mean, maybe it's something we need to just check, so in the future, if anything goes to anybody in this township board.
I guess I didn't realize it was something that was gonna take effect after the fact. I mean, like I said, we've done that cemetery since, I don't know, Wes's dad did it first. We did
Well,
it for him for 45 years.
I'll find where it's written that you
Okay.
can't do that. Until then, if you want to do it,
Well, I'll return it if you want it returned.
well, it's not just up to me.
Well,
I'm just
why
saying.
don't
All right, let's see what you guys think.
Why don't we just research it and return the check until we know for sure whether you can do that or not?
I can do that.
Okay.
I don't think
That's
I
what
even deposited it yet.
Okay, I'll make that motion that you return the check that was written to West Simon's Trucking for $125 until we research it and find out whether it's approved or, I
Okay,
don't know what you call it, legal.
All right, what do we want to do about Tuesday's funeral? Do we want to have them hold the body, or do we want to find
Well,
somebody
we
else to dig
don't.
the hole?
We don't
or-
want
What do you do as part, what was the invoice? I don't have the invoice here, but what was West Simon's Trucking's responsibility as far as that cremation or funeral?
Just to meet the family out there. I met them out on behalf of the township, because the cemetery it's actually the clerk's job, but I always did it. And then I meet the family, and we set up the time for the service, graveside service, and then we dig the hole, and he covers it up.
So West Simon's Trucking you're being paid for digging?
Mhm.
Okay.
That was just a cremation hole.
Do you have any other schedule besides Tuesday?
No, that
Next
one
week?
just came in today at 2 o'clock.
Yeah, so we can't tell them, no,
can't.
we can't do it, so why don't we do this one and the Tuesday one, and then research
Research it.
this? And if we shouldn't be doing it, then don't do it.
Okay, well, it's just whether, it's to make you aware that we were doing it, but we've been doing it. And everybody knew I was doing it.
I didn't know.
No, I didn't know.
You didn't know who did the grave digging back here?
Well,
for-
I didn't know it till I
Well,
saw the invoice, and that's first
And
time.
it never used
Just
to-
because I'm a new board
yeah.
member, I wasn't aware of that.
But it wasn't always the townships, and now it is. It used to be Ray Smith.
It's changed, Mary, I guess, since you got elected. It just has to be researched and see what we have to do. If
Well,
you
it
can't
just
do
has
it-
to, you have to be made aware. And I didn't realize you didn't know. I mean, I take care of Maple Grove as well. I take care of 2 in Memphis, Richmond, Columbus Township.
Yeah, but the thing is, you weren't supervisor for the last 3 generations.
Yeah.
I understand you know Wes and his dad and his dad's dad, so this is a hiccup in the.
Okay, well, if it's a
something-
problem, I'll
It's
give
something
it
we
up.
need to look. And then around here, I know that Diggs is Daniels, Billy Daniels. Whether he'd be interested in taking another one or not, I don't know.
All right, well,
It just, I don't know, I'm not,
I mean, we
Do you
don't
wanna
have a whole lot of them. I
research
think we've only had
Do you
like,
wanna
I know I know I
five,
read it
3 years.
somewhere
Okay.
months ago in something, so I could try to find it.
yeah.
Yeah, because I know I did read it.
Why don't you just go ahead
Yeah.
with
Go
what
ahead.
you've got
Yeah.
on Tuesday, and we'll research it for the next board meeting?
Because you
Okay.
can't tell people the whole,
Right.
yeah,
realize
that
that
wouldn't
you-
be right.
Okay. So do you want your
So-
your $125 back? Or are you okay with that?
No, don't the people pay for that?
Yes. Yes.
Okay,
This particular one, I think the family paid for it. I don't think it went through the funeral home. No, I can't say that because it was in a special box and it was very heavy and he was afraid that we wouldn't be able to lift it.
oh,
So I think it was Randy Young brought it out to me.
Well, how about just keep your 125 Tuesday?
Take care of Tuesday.
And then
Yeah.
we'll research it for the next
Yeah.
board meeting.
Okay, fair enough.
How's that?
Is
Okay.
that a motion?
That's a motion.
Okay, did you catch all that?
I'll make a motion that, just because you already have the check
Mm-hmm.
for $125, Tuesday's work for Tuesday, and then we'll research for the next board meeting.
All right, do we have a second?
I'll second that.
Okay, we have a second and a motion. And since this involves money, and is this just this thing that we're dealing with right now, not the entire consent agenda? So, all in favor of her motion and her second by Susie, signify by saying aye. Roll call vote.
Sue? Yes. Tom?
yes.
Kathy?
Yes.
Mary Agnes?
Abstain.
Sherry? Yes.
Motion carried. All right, now we have the consent agenda then. Are we okay with everything else that was presented on items 1, 2, 3, and 4? Is that a motion? That
Yes,
nod?
that's a
Okay, we
motion.
have a motion by Sue to
I'll
approve the
second.
consent agenda as presented,
I'll second.
and we have a second. And this is going to concern money as well, so all in favor signify by saying aye. Roll call vote.
Tom?
Yes.
Mary Agnes?
Yes.
Sue? Yes. Kathy?
Yes.
Sherry?
Yes. Motion carried. All right, now we have an open session on things on the agenda. Anyone from the audience, please approach the podium and give us your ideas. Mrs. Runyon?
It's about the Verizon letter.
Yes.
They did blow us off. We wrote in the form of a brief, and quoted from our ordinance, everything that was not right with the tower, just from the ordinance standpoint, not counting all the information we had filled out by residents. They did not address any of those problems. They didn't address anything in the whole situation. It's like they never even got the letter. So it's just whoever this was, and I said Mary Agnes, you said they didn't even leave a phone number. So we'll have to, and the reason I'm making a statement now, because I want all the Cottrellville residents to be aware of this, because we're going to have to take some other actions. We'll see what we can do without going further, but otherwise, we've been talking about doing a town hall meeting, having residents there, and maybe having the media, if that has to be. Because in our ordinance, any problems, anything that was working in the past has to be continued working in the present. And if putting the Verizon tower caused a problem with past services that the residents have had, then they have to fix them. The landscaping, they have not addressed, they didn't address that at all in the letter. Sure, they put trees around the fence, but they were supposed to put trees around the perimeter. That has not been taken care of. They've just blew everything off, and they've not communicated with us. So, just for your information.
Well, we'll have that discussion. I think we should have a town hall meeting on it, and maybe even invite the television station so that they know that we have no 911 service. And that's the reason that we needed the tower fixed, was because people can't call for emergency services because it doesn't work.
Do we still have those two big maps that they had on the wall where they showed where there was no service, and once they did that tower,
What was supposed to be
there,
covered?
there would be service?
I don't know where those went. They were on that wall. like,
Yeah, I know for a long time.
Right? They were there.
Yeah, I don't know where they
Pat?
went.
Do you remember those two maps that they had on the wall showing where there was no service, and once they put the tower in, then those areas would get service? Do you know where those maps are?
Did Barb take
Remember
them
they were on
down?
the wall for a long time?
I don't know if Barb did or if they did it during the election, because I haven't seen them for several months.
Well, that'd be interesting just to drag those back up, because they told us.
Do you think it's something that we could, in our,
Something else, when people have called them,
yes,
something else, when people have made phone calls, they said it wasn't about the service, it was about the data. It was about the data. That's not what they sold it on. It's in our minutes. Actually, there's a quote from their lawyer, Mr. LaBelle, saying, in these times, people can't afford a regular phone, and with a cell phone, they need to call 911. That's our big issue,
Right.
calling 911. Mary Agnes experienced that, lady on our planning commission, Lisa experienced that. They can't call 911. Lisa has to go to Kmart to call 911. Well, I'm sorry, you know, my loved one is laying here on the floor. I have to run over to Kmart to call 911. She had to go to the emergency and drive herself because she couldn't call 911. That's ridiculous. And that's what he sold it on, and that was their attorney. So, yeah, we'll have to,
And they kept on pointing out those maps.
I know.
Yeah, so
we'll
And-
it would
dig
be
those
nice
up. That's a
to
good point.
find them,
And
yeah.
some people's,
29 River Road is one of the so-called dead spots, and I was sitting here when they explained it, and it's still a dead spot.
Mhm.
Verizon.
Right.
Trust me,
Yep.
cell phones don't work.
there's been limited advantages to residents as we, you know, oh, well, I think we did those surveys. And we also have somebody that works for, that's on the planning commission, and he did like a survey of what he felt could be done to change it. This guy didn't address anything. He just said that something about the problem was with Canada, and that's why they put the, I wish we had the letter with it. We could read it to people.
Oh, our letter in here? that we
Yeah,
have?
I think you should read that,
Yeah.
because I think that totally is a blow-off
Yeah. I
when
think
you
so,
read that
too.
letter. Considering all the work we did. I mean, we all went out on foot and talked to everybody along River Road. I have a neighbor he's on my planning commission, but he's a couple doors down from me. Now, I have Sprint, and I have a tower in my basement, and I get self-service and no problem. He had Verizon, and since they put the tower up, he can't get anything. He can't get internet, anything. He was doing everything through Verizon. He has nothing. And we're on the west side of the township, borderline mayor, and it's a loss. You know, there's other areas that are like that. People have worse problems. I know somebody that just turned over to Sprint. I don't know how much better it's going to be. So I don't get the point of what Verizon thought they were going to accomplish. But their big sell with us was the 911 and better service. And that's what they sold to all the young people. And when the planning commission tried to be the devil's advocate, we were shot down because we were limited and tried to do as much education as we could. We actually tried, I talked to Still in the Air and was going to get a representative for a second opinion, third-party second opinion, and that was shot down. You know, that I was basically saying they were liars. Well, you know, so I think you should read that response letter just for people to hear it.
Does anybody want to hear it, or can I just make copies of it for you and you can have it to take home? Would that be
Oh.
better?
Okay.
Most people are watching on TV won't hear it.
Well,
It's not that long, is it?
it's pretty long. It's 3 or 4, it's a page.
Oh, well.
All right, well, thank you for your letter of April 11th, voicing your concerns regarding Verizon service in the area in and around Cottrellville Township, Michigan. We value our customers and are continually improving our network to provide them with the best and most reliable service possible. Your feedback is appreciated and helps us to better serve our customers. As you point out in your letter, Verizon applied for zoning and permits to build a new tower in Cottrellville in 2015. This tower was needed because regulatory constraints forced Verizon to reduce the reach of its existing towers near the Canadian border, which were causing interference with certain Canadian carriers across the border. This new tower was a large investment in our network and was built in order to compensate for any degradation of service caused by this regulatory constraints and to improve coverage for customers in the area. Please be assured that the new tower is fully operational and is servicing customers throughout the area. Although some customers may have experienced reduced service quality in certain areas and at certain times over the past year, it is not due to the construction of the new tower. Rather, as explained above, regulatory constraints placed limits on our ability to operate our existing towers near the Canadian border, resulting in some degradation in service in some areas. Without the new tower, service would be even more limited in those areas than it is today. Verizon is committed to providing its customers with the most reliable service possible. To that end, our network team continues to evaluate our network performance in and around Cottrellville and is working to improve service to all customers in the area. Thank you once again for sharing your concerns. That's Stephen Van Dinter, V-A-N-D-I-N-T-E-R, manager of Verizon Wireless. And I have his email address. So if you guys want to start firing off letters, I think that's what we'll do. But we'll do a town hall meeting. We'll have this letter. We'll have certain things that we want spelled out in it, and then we'll start firing off a barrage of letters and maybe invite the Times Herald and the Voice in Channel 2 or 4 or 7 or somebody that'll come out and give us a hand with this, because it's very dangerous to not have a 911 in this area.
Especially when you've given up your landline,
Yes,
yeah, which a lot of people
a lot
have
of
done.
people have,
Yeah.
for both reasons, expense and, so, yes.
During those meetings, they said something about a repeater for the 911 to be installed on the tower. Were we supposed to do that? Or was the township supposed to?
I don't know, I never, is that, Pat, was that brought up to you?
Some sort of a repeater.
Never
type thing.
heard of that.
No.
When did you do that?
In one meeting.
Oh, there was a lady that installs, those emergency things on people. She was concerned because that's run through like the internet service, data service of Verizon. And she was concerned of giving this to customers. Because I thought that too. I thought there was going to be something on the tower. That's not what it was when I read about it. Actually, I put a call in to her and she never got back.
Well, those are emergency channels of the fire department and everything. Don't we have something to put on the tower?
I don't know if we have to or not.
Well, you would think they would have said something in there.
Well, yeah, they have to.
Adapter or something.
Yeah, they should have said something in the letter, so
Well,
we'll start hammering on them.
The thing is, Mike proposed solutions. There was a solution of putting, what did he call that? Like an extender, and having it on the corner of Broadbridge and River Road, which would go north and south. The thing is, they don't put their antennas facing Canada completely, facing Canada, because they don't want
Anything going that way.
They don't want anything crossing Canada, because then they'll have to pay, they can't charge the customers for roaming charges. So the solution was, there was several solutions that Mike came up with, and to put this, I forget what it was called, but it was to go north and south and put it on the corner of Broadbridge and the River Road, and that would take care of the north and the south part, and adjusting the antennas too, because they're only 90-degree antennas, and he said to make them a larger antennas. There were several solutions he had, and they didn't address any of that. So.
I think they have to install small antennas on the Edison poles along River Road. One of the technicians spoke to that.
Yeah.
See, they didn't say anything.
Yeah, they got in, we're gonna invite them out.
And they should have been
explain it to us.
communicating with us as they went along. We have not released them from
No, we have not done a
anything yet.
final inspection.
You would
no,
think
ma'am.
they want a final inspection, and it's been a year and a half, something like that. So you would think that they have to finish this up, and they're supposed to comply with all rules of our ordinance. That was our agreement. We would not consent unless, and make a recommendation unless they went with our ordinance and all the rules of our ordinance. So, okay.
Thank you, Pat.
Barb is holding up the
Come on, Barbara.
thermostat back there.
Your turn. I'm sorry. Thank you for your patience. I shouldn't have read that letter without letting you come forth first. Go right
Let's
ahead.
talk about, I just want to make sure I didn't forget anything. F2, on the garbage rate increase, did I not understand it? The garbage rate increase was only to cover what we were losing,
Right.
right? We're not going to have any additional monies left over, right?
Yeah, there'll be about $2,200.
$2,200. Why
Because
did we
we're
raise
going
it
in the
so
hole
high then?
$340 now every year.
I'm sorry?
We're going in the hole every year, $340.
Right, but we'll have 2,200
Right.
just sitting in the bank.
Well, yeah,
you-
in this account for this line item.
Right, so,
Now, this average that we get is based on the current fuel prices. So if we would have a fuel hike, then we have to come up with more money. So that's our slush fund for that reason. If diesel fuel doubles, then we would.
I just didn't know why we'd have extra when,
Well, you
okay,
can't give it
but it was-
exactly the right amount. I mean,
No?
you've gotta have, you're gonna have some overage or some underage, and we're already under, so there'd be no point in moving it. We're working that close.
right. Just an FYI, F10, when the clerk wrote that she was shutting the clerk's office down June 14th, she can't do that. So it doesn't matter if she's gone, so.
Yeah, it's not happening, so.
Well, she couldn't anyways, she doesn't have that authority.
Well, she does if we don't have
She
an official
doesn't.
here.
We would have had you people, as we did with Connie.
I know, but we can't do that. When the official is not here, then we automatically lose our deputy.
Not true, because the treasurer,
Well, we changed her name. We would've kept her too, but we.
right, because she
but we
can
don't
work
have
in that
anybody to pay
capacity.
bills.
She can work in that capacity
She just can't sign
with it,
checks.
exactly.
Yeah, and she can't.
And you
vote.
guys would have found someone,
Yeah,
right? You would have did exactly what you did at the special meeting.
yeah, we did all right.
Right, exactly. Also, with what Sue's saying, if you look back, I came to this podium a few months back, 6 months, whatever. She's right. You can't personally benefit from your job on that board. I'll find it again, but you're right. I remember pointing at every one of you and saying, Tom, Angie, you, and then you stopped me, saying you guys, your husband was retired. I You- think though though with with board board approval, you can, no matter who it is. It has to be brought up front. Show me. It says you cannot benefit. I'm going to. I'm just supporting what she said. I remember it.
I remember
what
saying
I
that, but I
found.
thought it was brought up after the fact, that if it was board approval and it was brought up front, everybody made it public that they had a business also that was gonna be doing something, that the board could approve it and then it would be okay.
That would be like Tom,
Right,
going
right.
to 4 houses down saying, you know what, I don't know what you do. I'm going to dig a trench from the front to the back, and I have a friend, Bev, who can do the billing for cheaper.
I really do think, Barb, I really believe that
Find
it
it.
was said.
I have mine.
Try to find it.
I'll have it in my notes. So I'm just saying, I know it was something, and I'll find it. Thanks.
I have a question.
Yep.
Didn't you say that the people from the cemetery or the people's insurance have to pay for having the, anybody in my family that died, we had to pay for opening the grave. And sure, it's sent, you're saying it's being billed from the township because we own the cemetery now. But, so the township's a vessel to pay the person that opens the grave, correct? And did you not say that you're taking a certain amount, that actually the pay is much higher, what they're paying?
Yes.
Okay, that's what I understood. So I would think that just make sure that it's out in the open, because you had the business, it was active, and just make sure that everybody understands that. Well, I don't know why a person, because they run for an office, has to stop their business and lose a client, which is this cemetery that they've always done. Unless you're going to drop one cemetery and you're going to have to find somebody and it may cost you more. In the end, we're making money out of this to go to our cemetery fund, so it
He
might
didn't
be.
make money before, because.
We weren't making any money before.
What Don Chop charged is what the township charged, so it was
Yeah.
just a wash.
Yeah.
And I I charge more so that the money comes in.
And we do need to
pay
get
less.
some kind of cemetery fund going.
Yep.
Well, we
Gotta have
should
somebody
research
set-
it and make
Yeah.
sure.
But I mean, that, you have to look at it as it might be a benefit for us. Find out what other people are charging and find out,
Yeah.
you know, do,
Just go,
yeah, do your
we'll find
research.
out what the right process is, and then we can go that way.
Okay. Anybody else? No? All right, we'll go on to unfinished business, which we don't have any. Now, new business. F1 is the request for the St. Clair County Road Commission wants to use the local ditching program money to ditch the north side of Shortcut Road, starting at McKinley and then going west approximately 900 feet and replace one driveway culvert. Now, that tube is a 36 by 30 foot arch corrugated metal, and then seed, mulch, and 22A limestone over the top. It's the labor and the equipment to produce that is $10,000. They have given us a contract for that. That is money that they've chose to do in our township. That is the $10,000. They just want permission to do that. It doesn't cost us any money at all. There's no match whatsoever. So he'd like to get started on it, but we might be going to the bottom of the list now because we didn't sign it when he brought it in. But it's on the agenda, and if you want to make a motion to that effect, I would entertain one now, please.
This is something that Mike brought up.
Yes,
I'll make a motion to approve the funds be used for that.
And it doesn't come out of our budget because there's a zero.
Right, there is,
So
no,
the
it's-
county's
it doesn't
doing
cost us anything. It's
Okay.
the money that's
Yeah.
specified by
That sounds
the,
good.
for their budget to do something in
You look
Cottrellville.
at that when we did the drive around with Kyle. And that ditch needs to be cleaned out.
Okay, we have a motion. Do I have a second?
I'll second it.
All right, we have a motion and a second by Sue to approve a $10,000 expenditure with St. Clair County for them to do the work that was specified on that work order at no cost to the township. All in favor signify by saying aye by roll call vote, please.
Tom?
Yes.
Sue?
Yes.
Kathy?
Yes.
Mary Agnes?
Yes,
Sherry? Yes.
motion carried. Thank you very much. We have a request for, this is the actual resolution of what we discussed last month. It had been offered by Kathleen Shue, the treasurer, and by trustee Sue Bisconer took care of the second. It is the actual resolution to change the amount. It goes from 145 to 147.
And you corrected, you made a
Yeah.
correction to the 1225.
Yes, when I did the original estimate on this, was informally done, it was $12.12 per month, and when I recalculated it, it's $12.25 per month. And if it also includes that certificate of occupancy for anybody that builds a new house, like in November, if they get the certificate of occupancy, when they pick that up from the township, they're going to have to pay the rest of the season or rest of the budget for that, which would amount to $12.25. So they would owe $61.25, and they'll get that when they get their C of O. Now, if they don't come and pick it up and just move into the house, then we have the right to place that on their tax bill for the following winter. We have a motion. Can we go with the same people? So,
You know, and just another thing that you could mention as well is Barb went over, she and Ruth went, Barb Shutt, the assessor, and Ruth Shutt. They went over each parcel, they researched it, and we came up with additional parcels because of that.
oh, very good.
Remember, we were talking about that, so they discovered additional parcels that hadn't been on our list.
At all.
So that was a good thing.
All right, so we need the approval of the formal resolution 2017-8, garbage rate increase. Kathy, would you like to offer that again?
Sure, I'll make the motion to accept the resolution R 2017-08.
And can we still have a second by Sue?
Yes, I'll second that.
All right. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Ayes, hearing none, or nays, hearing none, motion carried.
So somebody's been getting free garbage pickup for a while?
Sounds like it, doesn't it?
Well, right, we had, this is Nicole Hart, the deputy. Can I
Sure,
speak
please.
to her?
Yes. Go right ahead,
Is that
introduce her.
okay? Am I
Yes.
okay doing that?
Yes.
Go ahead, Nicole.
Yeah, there were people that, in the process of building a new house or a land split, something, you know, along that effect, that they missed the garbage along the line to add it. So, some weren't getting, they were doing it yearly. So if you moved in July, you basically got free garbage pickup for the rest of the year. This resolution will change that to make it more fair.
Right.
And
Okay.
then Barb and Ruth had gone through all the parcels for the land splits and everything, so
Right.
we got everything
Good.
updated.
That's good.
Very good, thank you. Next item is number 3, we're gonna remove that one, the R1709, at the request of the treasurer. Number 4 is request for approval for the township, for the treasurer's office again, R 2017-10, to impose a 3% late penalty charge on property tax collection after February 14th and after March 1st, all taxes paid in 2017 or any year thereafter until revoked or rescinded by this new resolution of Cottrellville Township Board.
Right, and the reason that we presented it tonight was, we wanted to make sure that people, that all the residents understood that if you are a senior, or if you're a resident that's eligible for deferment, you have to submit those annually. No one is exempt unless they have that deferment in by September 14th. So we had some people, we noticed when they came in for winter taxes, they said, well, we applied, we're deferred. No, you applied last year. You have to make sure it's repeated every year, so.
Are you putting that on the tax bill?
It's on the tax bill and it's on some other things, our newsletter.
Okay, very good, thank you.
That's all, and it's on our webpage under Treasurer's Department.
All right, so we need a motion to adopt R 2017-10. Do we have a motion to approve? I would so move. Do we have a second?
My own?
You sure can.
I'll second it.
Okay. We have a motion by me, a second by the treasurer.
Just check that right off the list.
All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye.
Aye.
Motion carried. All right, let's go to the next one here. Okay, this is a request by the Treasurer's Office again, 2017-18 budget resolution, and it's going to have a designation of BR for budget resolution. From now on, when we've set up a kind of a different kind of a office meeting. We're going to do it on Mondays after lunch. That's our long day here in the office. And we're going to go through before we pay bills and make sure that the account that is being used to display the payment is agreeable with, I'm including the clerk and the deputy clerk and the deputy treasurer too, because both of these girls are very smart. And we will have those, well, I guess our deputy clerk here is not our deputy anymore, so, but if we all get to agree on whatever the designation is, we'll be fine. If it's something that we have a dispute on, then we agree to go get somebody else's opinion, either from BSNA or the auditor or whoever we have to ask. And that way, when these things come up, we'll all be on board on the same page. And I think we'll be able to be more used to that sort of thing, and I think we'll eliminate this problem with the general ledger, doing that on a weekly basis. Any resolution that needs to be, any adjustment that needs to be made will be numbered, 2017-18, this is the first one, so it's 001. But every month, we'll look at what needs to be adjusted, and we'll fix it then while it's fresh in all of our minds. The first one here is number 1. The original that was voted on was a $501,000 budget. Then we had a discussion about removing the roads and ditches, zeroed out from $27,829 to nothing. And also she wanted the contribution from the St. Clair County Parks and Rec to be zeroed out, $15,242 to 0. And because we don't actually receive that money, those were in the form of match. but we still have to come up with that money if we need to match it, so, and it's been removed. So, and that's, money for the county parks comes directly from the county. It's been collected here in our township, and then they send it up there, and then they ship it back to us by population. So the estimate, I'm sorry?
I'm sorry, go ahead. Never mind, I thought you were done.
No. Therefore, the changes for this new one, the estimated revenues, we took the $501,414. We took off the $43,071, and it makes it $458,343. And the estimated expenditures, with that same thing, leaves us with the $473,584. We're short $15,241, which will come out of the township fund balance if we spend it. So I need a motion to support, to approve this budget resolution number 2017/18-001.
Can I comment on something?
Yes. Well, if we get the motion out, then we'll discuss it.
I'll second the motion.
You making the motion? Or am I making the motion?
You made the motion?
All right, I'll make the motion. All right, and then
Second that-
seconded by,
Second
okay.
any motion. We'll second that motion. I'll second.
Now you're singing.
Yeah.
Okay, discussion?
I just wanted to point out, I wasn't aware that this was, we put this in and
Put what in?
this as part of this packet.
Oh,
And on Monday when I saw it, on my calculations, on page, or I guess I'll just read you the GL number because the pages are stapled through, but under the expenses, the appropriations for roads and ditches, we have the revenues. We took the revenue off of the $27,829, and because it was a match program, you double the appropriation because it's an expense to us. So under the roads and ditches, under the expenses or the appropriations, which would have been this 101,446,740, and I can't tell you the page number, but there should still show, and I think, I can't tell you right here and now, but I think it's something we need to look at, because I think I included that as an expense. If you don't have the revenue, you have to include the $27,829. If you have the revenue, then you double the 27. So we took, without getting real into it, that needs to be looked at, because I'm showing 0 on this copy, but I believe when I calculated it, since we took it off the revenue, I kept the 27,829 in there.
on this side?
On the, yes, you have to keep that, so that'll be something we should discuss on Monday when we look at this.
Okay.
Make sure that calculation was in there, because
Because
my
this-
copy shows 0.
This was your copy that you gave me.
Right.
And I duplicated it for everybody.
Right, but that was a copy from like May, when we were gonna present it in May, so I wasn't aware that it was, until Monday, that it was gonna be back in there.
Oh.
So I believe that was part of the calculations, but I just wanna point that out, that we'll have to check that on Monday when we
All
have
right,
our
so you don't
meeting.
want to approve this then, or?
Well, the revenue will be right. The revenue amount is right. Sue brought that to my attention, and when we were going back and forth, so,
And if we could see the total on here, we could
Yeah.
add it up right away. but we can't
yeah, I
the
can't see
total.
that, so. I
That's
can
trouble with
try it, I
duplicating
can
stuff,
do
so-
it, but, but I don't want to hold up the board meeting.
Okay.
I
All right,
I
well-
believe, I would still like to go ahead because it can be adjusted. It
Okay,
can
well-
be amended at the next board
Yes, we
meeting.
can.
So
Yep.
we can approve it as is and then check this, because we're going to be going through all of these anyways.
Yes, every week.
And that was the whole point of going forward, was we could, when I contacted MTA in the best interest of the residents, move forward and start making those amendments
Yes, every
every
week.
month, yeah.
Okay, very good. We have a motion on the floor, we have a second. We have a roll call vote for this, please.
Mary Agnes?
Yes?
Sue,
Yes.
Tom,
Yes.
Kathy,
Yes.
Sherry, yes.
Motion carried. Thank you very much. Now, the next item, request for approval by the Township Treasurer's Office to initiate the cleanup of the bank reconciliations of all bank accounts of Cottrellville Township prior to beginning the general ledger work. As it was voted on at last month's meeting, it was not to exceed $5,000 limit prior to beginning the cleanup. After we spoke with the auditor, we had a three-way conversation going, and it was discovered that we have to start on the treasurer's side. And that's what we're going to do. We have a meeting set up for the first,
June 20th.
yes,
What the...
next Tuesday. Go ahead.
I was going to say, the first letter, already when you're doing bank reconciliations, you always start on cash, and we're cash, I'm the cash. So just to clarify everything, when Clerk Viola gave us her notice that she was leaving, we contacted, Mary Agnes and I sat in on a conference call and spoke with Paul Bailey, just to make sure we're all on the same page, that we understand. They start in our office June 20th. They've asked us, they gave us a list on this letter to prepare reports, whatever we can prepare to try to help eliminate the time they have to spend out here. So that's what our treasurer office is doing right now.
Right.
And then if it hopefully doesn't reach $5,000, but
Well, we should
You know,
be able
we'll see.
to,
But we
I
can
told him
control it.
what I want him to do is to get us started.
Right.
And these girls are bright, they'll pick it up quickly, and we'll be able to get ourselves a regular routine, and it'll be taken care of in a,
right. And this
Right
has to
time.
be done whether they come, this has to be done before the audit anyways. But at least if we have some sort of control and we're present more, my feeling, my belief is that I can pick up more if I'm there and I'm seeing what they're doing, and maybe down the road, then we can eliminate the number of hours that they're out here.
right.
It's done every year. Every year they come out and do an audit. If the books aren't balanced, they start in cash, and then they move over to general ledger.
Right.
They have to. You can't do one without the other. So,
No. And you gotta know how much money you got to play with before you
Before you
start
can-
paying bills.
right.
So with that, this was approved before, but because we're starting in the treasurer's side first, I wanted to make sure that the board was on board with doing that. And I think we've explained it to everybody pretty thorough. If you have any questions, if not, what I would ask you to do is give us permission, or give me permission to sign the letter of engagement so that they can come out on Tuesday. Do I have a motion to that effect, please?
I would like to make a motion that we give the supervisor permission or authorization to sign the letter of engagement to Stewart, Bouvet, and Whipple to start the process, June 20th.
Do I have a second? I'll second. Is there any further discussion? Any questions? Tom, you understand what's going on?
That's still the $5,000 limit.
That's the limit, yes, and when you get close to that, I told him you're gonna have to notify us, because we're gonna have to stop right at that point, so give us enough time so that we can get it on a board meeting, because we only meet once a month. And they agreed that, because we don't wanna slow it down, we wanna keep moving, but I think when these girls get their template or their formation of how to do this, it's not gonna be a big deal.
As long as it's on their letter.
Yes, it is.
Okay.
It's in the packet.
Yeah, your packet is dated May 23rd. This is different from the one that we got before, because I did ask them to give me a list of all the things that Kathy could start working on prior to this meeting, and she's got a lot of it already prepared, so we're ready to go.
Okay.
Susie, you all right with this?
Yes.
Okay. Sherry, you okay? I know you are. Okay, we have to vote on this. All in favor signify by saying aye by roll call, because it's spending money.
Sue,
Yes.
Kathy,
Yes.
Tom,
Yes.
Mary Agnes,
Yes.
Sherry, yes.
Motion carried. Thank you very much. All right. Now, the next thing, discussion of several increases in raising money for certain categories for maintaining the township line items on our tax bill. The first one was brought to my attention by Beverly Kopek, former treasurer, that I may have my decimal point in the wrong place. And then Kathy caught it also. What we're using right now, it says .07035, and that's what I took off the L29 that Barb gave me. And when you multiply that out, I did it here, but I'm thinking what happened was the decimal point is, I mean, it was done the way she said it to be done, so I think we're okay, but.
But if you use the tax bill, it's gonna be based on .0075, not .0735.
Yeah. Yeah, I know. So I'm thinking we got it, I mean, it's, what it amounts to is on the homestead, on a $100,000 house, so you take 50% of the value, divide it by $1,000 worth of taxable value, 50 units times that, 23.4226 mils is gonna be $1,171.13, and that times .0075 gave us $8.78 in administration fee for 2016. If we go to a full 1%, it bumps it up $2.93. So, and then what we have is, this is restricted to be only certain things that it can be paid. Assessor's wages, office staff, for the assessor, office supplies and postage, mileage, education and training, capital outlay, that's in the amount of $24,550 roughly. The board of review wages, the education, the mileage and publishing of the advertisements, $2,430. Those are all items that are listed in our budget currently. Treasurer's wages and half the deputy's wages, because the deputy also collects water bills, so half her time is generated to that. Office supplies, postage, outside contracted services, mileage and education, that's $35,008. So the whole amount is $62,793. And now the state tax commission sent us a letter, and I still have it on my desk, October 2nd, 2008, that we have to find that money to make the expenses balance. So it takes a chunk of it out. So that's what we're looking for. And it was recommended by the state treasury that our budget in fund balance should be 2.5 times, at least 2.5 times what our budget is, and we're about $500,000. So, and we're down to currently 240,000. So it's it's been really tight. So has everybody got kind of how that works? We got the estimate for 2017 using the 2016 rates and the 2017 taxable values for the primary residential exemption, which would be the homestead household. We've got $123,340,040. And then that's for non-homestead, which would be our cottages and people that have second homes. That's $22,186,900. So the total is $145,500. The winter tax times that 5.5037 was $800,000. 1% would be $8,009. And then the summer tax, we take that same 145, multiply it times 18 mils, and that is $2,636,380.60. And then again, 22,186 is the non-homestead, which is the cottages, again, brings us in about 400,000. So when you add the 2,006,399, you got $3,035,744, and at 1% would give us $30,000 and some change. So the two together, the 8,000 and the 30,000, is $38,366.82.
That's what you expect to collect if
Yes.
you raise?
Yeah,
that
if
for the
everybody
whole
pays
year?
their taxes and there's nothing,
And this tax can only go to?
those things that I listed,
It's
they're restricted.
specific to
Yep.
that, right?
That's the way the law reads. So, is there any questions on that, or you want to, because I haven't wrote the the resolution yet. I wanted to run this all by everybody to make sure that, that you understood it thoroughly. If you want to discuss it some more, we could have a workshop just for this or for any of these items that we're talking about. Would you prefer to do that?
When I look through the packet, I would prefer to do that because I started to calculate, and that's when I noticed some I would like to, because it is a lot. It's a lot of this and the other items. I would like to just review it.
Table it? And
make sure all the figures are correct as far as, you know, and get together as a board and look at it again, because I want to check these figures, just making sure our line items are correct.
Can we table it so that we can at least vote at it at a regular meeting next month? Can we have a workshop one time this month? If we know we're gonna have a rainy day, because that seems to be something that'll work with Tom, if he gets rained out and can't work, then we could have a, you know, as long as I posted 18 hours before the meeting, you know, it's a legitimate meeting. So, and kind of watch the website. We'll have the clerk put that information in if we're going to have a meeting to kind of discuss this, because I don't know what we're going to do for weather, but with all this heat we're getting, we're probably going to have a lot of storms, so.
So if we did that and we have, I would like to make that motion that we table it and have a workshop.
Okay.
I'll second that.
Okay, we have a motion by Treasurer, and we have a second by Trustee this corner to table this. But we will have an answer and a resolution prepared by the next meeting, so we know if we're going to adopt it or not, but we'll get the nuts and bolts worked out so everybody sees it. What I would like to do is take somebody's taxes and then show where all these expenses are gonna be on it, so it looks like, I mean, we'll use my tax bill if you want. All right, we have a motion to table it, and we need to vote on that, please. All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any nays? Hearing none, motion carried. All right. Now, the next one is the administration fee that, oh, I guess I did do this. This was a little bit less. I cut it back to .88, but we're going to have to, we'll look at that again. Let's go on to the next one, which is a estimated millage for fire protection as a line item on your tax bill. As you know, we have to come up with 100,000, and we've only got like 240 left in our, so that wouldn't even carry 3 years of fire service. So we're gonna have to begin doing that, and then I'd like to put a little money away so that it'll be easier for us to come up with building that fund. And if some point in time we have enough in it and you decide you wanna get out of that fire authority, then we'd have enough money to start something different. On the taxable value for the township is $124,894,694. To raise $105,000 for our projected share, we have to take that 105 and divide it by the 124, and that would equal to .8804, and that would raise $105,011 per year, and we need 105. So every year you're going to put $11 away. It's going to take a long time to build that fund up. So Barb and I discussed it, and we went up to 110, that we would divide it by that, 124 million, and it would be .8408, and that would raise $110,007 for this purpose. So if you had a $100,000 cash valued home with the taxable value at 50%, divided by $1,000 worth of taxable value, the 50 times that .8808 would be roughly $44.04 per year for your $100,000 home for fire protection. We would then move the extra $5,000 into the fund balance for the fire protection fund, and if we want to save that $5,000 per year for our township to put it away, or do we want to put away $11 a year? So, and the reason that we did it by rate is because like our garbage, we can't write that off our income tax. If it's rated as a percentage, then you can, it's a complete write-off. But that most CPAs, when they do somebody's income tax, will take that 145 off, and you know, some let it go by, and some don't let you get away with it. So, but putting it into a computed thing is a little bit more cost effective. So if that's something you want to talk about, or if you want to put it into that workshop meeting that we're going to have.
Anybody, I'd like to make a motion that we keep all of these in the workshop.
Keep them all?
Well, as we go along, but this one as well.
Okay.
I would like to make a motion that we keep this request for estimated millage for fire protection as a line item on the tax bill. We table it and put it as part of our workshop.
Okay. Do we have a second to that motion, please? I'll second. All right, we have a motion to table this for the workshop. All in favor signify by, by saying aye, please. Aye.
Aye.
Any nays? Hearing none, motion carried. All right, the next item is estimated millage for secondary roads. We need some match money for that. We just don't have anything that we can use. I mean, I'm trying not to touch any of that general fund balance because it's very, very precious. If we had an emergency or something, we would really be in trouble. So this estimate is to raise like $60,000 a year. We had to cut the repairing of the work started on Shortcut Road because we were out of money. If we can begin putting that little bit away on that taxable value again of 124.8, divide that out, it would be 0.4804. It would raise $59,999 per year, and that would be added to our fund balance for county road and ditching only. And we would decide what it would be spent on the first year. Maybe we don't spend it at all. We'll wait till we have another $60,000, and then we could do something. Like I say, we had to give this up on, and I don't think they're going to offer us anymore because it's been like 4 years that we had to pull it out of the pile to do Shortcut Road. That was $45,000 that we needed. So, and again, we're doing it by a percentage so that it can be written off income tax. But if you would like to wait and see if we're able to put this in a resolution after we work out the details, I'd be willing to do that as well. Do we have a motion to table this one as well, as Kathy has said, the two previous?
I make a motion to table it for further discussion, but I think it's something we really have to do.
I agree. And we have I'll take a second then. All right, all in favor signify by saying aye, please. Aye.
Aye.
Further discussion.
Any nays? No. Motion carried. All right, now we have a gentleman. This bill is in Richard Hobig's name. He lives on South Channel in Harson's Island. He has a rental at 914 Chartier Street. And he had a water leak under his house, and not on the island, but at 914 Chartier Street. And he has it rented to a gentleman by the name of Tony Sigmund. The circumstance, I guess, Sherry, maybe you can help me with this, is it's been leaking a while because his water bills have been very high, right?
Yes, his water bills were really high the last quarter of 2016. They were higher the following quarter. I guess Tony had spoken to his landlord. His landlord really didn't do anything about it until just this past quarter. And I guess there was a huge leak under the house.
Okay, must have really let go to give out 87,000 gallons of water.
Yeah.
I've spoken to this gentleman before. I know Mr. Sigmund is a long-time renter because he was renting when I was in that clerk's office, deputy clerk's office. And he was always complaining about his water bill. So I'm thinking this man does this, Richard Hobig, he does this for a living. I mean, this is what he buys. He invests in properties and rents it, and that's his income. I don't believe that we should be waiving any usage as far as sewer, because even though it went out on the ground and didn't go through the system, the township doesn't receive credit from that from the city of Marine City either. And that would put additional burden on everyone that has a sewer in this township. And I just don't think it's a courtesy that we need to do. That's just my opinion, so, does anybody else got an opinion?
I don't see why we're paying for the water either. I mean, according to this bill that I printed off when I saw this, he's the renter. Who's the owner, Sharon?
Mr. Holbig, yes,
Holbig.
Richard and
But
Sharon
it goes all the
Holbig.
way back to last July, the usage was up. It was up again in October, up in January, up in March. He's behind. He received a shut-off notice. Did he make any effort to come in and make any payments or get on a payment plan or something?
He was on a payment plan. He had help paying his last bill. He's supposed to be in at the end of this week to pay partial.
I just think if you start doing this for one person, you're gonna set precedent again. Why, to me, looking at it, is like, did he say something a year ago?
Well, I think he was under the impression that water was so high in Cottrellville that $500 quarter bills were normal, and they just aren't normal for, I mean, he's not got a big family there.
If he's been paying right along, he should have seen the jump.
Yeah, he should have.
Or the owner should be responsible for it.
Yeah,
Well-
somebody should have, because
Yeah.
the township shouldn't have to pay.
No, I don't think that should be a
Because-
burden on the whole system.
No, I don't think so either.
So it would be my motion then that we refuse this and that he's gonna have to make payment arrangements. Either the homeowner has to pay it or the renter has to pay it, and if it doesn't, it'll roll to property taxes and the landlord's still gonna pay it, so.
I second it.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Nays? Hearing none? Motion carried. All right, let's see. All right, we already took care of Angie's resignation last night's meeting. The clerk's office will be open on June 14th. And we have a St. Clair County Community College 2017 tax request. They want to spread 1.8891 mills on taxable value of property in the township of Cottrellville to collect operating purposes. I've included that in your packet here. I can find it. They sent that to us on May 17th, and we don't have a choice. We just have to accept the levy.
Yeah, because that's already been voted on, so we have to do it.
Yeah, we don't have a choice in it, so.
Right.
The resolution was made by the Board of Trustees for the County Community College, and in the L 4029 is there. Barb said that was correct. So I would make a motion to approve that adoption of the resolution, or the millage rate of 1.8891 mills for operating that reflects the required Headley rollback and is according to Form L 4029 for St. Clair County. I need a second.
I'll second.
All right, we have a motion and a second by the treasurer. All in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Motion carried. All right, now we gotta go to, oh no, we gotta do these other ones that Kathy brought us. Okay, the first one is tax rate for, is it East China?
Yes.
East China schools. Has that changed much from last year or no?
They had a rollback on the sinking fund
Okay.
because of the Headley, or they reduced it because of the Headley rollback.
Okay.
It's on the second one. But the East China, I'm sorry, I made copies for everybody except myself.
Here. I'm sorry.
I thought I was so organized. Yes, on the East China School District, we just got that in. And they explained to me that the sinking fund was reduced because of the Headley rollback. So that was received today, and then we received the form for the operating from St. Clair County as well. And we're set to go.
Ready to rock and roll?
We're ready to rock and roll. I wanted those in there in case I want to cover all my bases. Make sure I get all the rates approved, because we are ready to send out, if everything's ready to go, the 22nd. We want to get it up, ready, out, and we'll be mailing out the 29th.
All right, well, we'll have a motion then to approve the millage request for the St. Clair County, as well as the East China School District, indicated by the L4029 forms that are attached. We'll do them all, both together if we can. Do we have a second to that motion?
I'll second.
All right, we have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion? Everybody understand what's happening?
There's one in your packet, and then I gave you an additional two. There's one in the original agenda packet. These are just the millage rates that we're going to put on the summer tax bill. We have to change the rate tables, and we're waiting for all that to come in.
Okay, so this is something that
They sent to
yeah,
us, and
we have to do.
we have to do,
We have to do it.
just for your information.
All set, Sue? No questions? Okay. We have a motion and a second. All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Anyone nays? Hearing none? Motion carried. All right, let's go back to, that was number 11. 12 is letter from the Huron Consultants recommending the raising of the rates for the third quarter. This is part of our SAW grant, and this had to be sent to the state, so we're getting it late, but it had to be in by I think the 1st of June, so they recommended our schedule in increments of 10% the first time, 14% and 16%. So by August 9th, 2017, we have to have go from $5 to $5.50. Now, I've backed this up so that it could be handled as of, I want a full quarter. I don't want to have the treasurer or the clerk's office do 1 month and then 2 months at a higher rate. So I backed it up to the full third quarter, which would be the 1st of September, I think, right? No, July. Yeah.
Yes.
So that would be the only difference on what their recommendation is, but they have to have it, it has to be done within 3 years of the grant being executed for us that we got, which would have been September 1st. So, and I just don't want to carry it through a split and a quarter. So we'll begin that, and then August, or 1 year from that date, there'll be another increase from $5.50 to $6 1/4, which is a 14% rate. And August, or September, or July of 2019, we'll have another meeting and discuss adding it 16% to that, which would be $6.25 to $7.25. And then we should be at closing our gap that the state wants us to do in order to be more self-funded and stable. So that's what we're working on next. So if there is a motion to recommend this incremental sewer rate increase so that we can meet our obligation with the state, I would entertain a motion to that effect, please.
I will make the motion to adopt the incremental sewer rate increases recommended by Huron Consultants.
Do we have a second?
I'll second that.
All right, we have a second by Susie. Well, this is spending money, so it'd be roll call vote, please.
Tom?
Yes.
Sue?
Yes.
Kathy?
Yes.
Mary Agnes?
Yes,
Sherry? Yes.
very good. Motion carried.
I think next we have to do water rates.
I know, we're working on that next.
They're helping, right?
Yes,
Huron
yes.
Consultants.
I've got some of it laid out already, and I was surprised that this was as little as it was. I was expecting a much larger rate, so I'm glad that, and we asked them to project it a little bit so that we don't have any surprises, so. But the least expensive one is the first one here, so. Item number 13, F13, request by treasurer, Shrew. Shrew. Is that a Freudian slip? No, I'm just.
I've been called that before.
Asking board to approve a $850 payment transaction. She is getting her ducks in a row to get the tax bills paid. It includes postage. Do your song and dance, please.
Yeah, this is, every year for the last 3 years, we've gone through KCI printing for the tax bills, both summer and winter. And it is more cost effective. They give us the break on the rate for postage. So we have to have the initial postage amount based on a quantity of 2,243 parcels, which is 850. They asked for $850. It says $851.09. We have to have that in. That gives them, we don't have to have any signed authorization, even though they made that part of some of this paperwork. And then that gives them the authorization to start. So I wanted to make you aware that we were asking to spend that and get the down payment.
And the total amount is how much?
The total amount, that's $850 for the postage. That's with all the discount we would have received had we gone through the, set something up with the post office. It's at a rate of 0.373, and then they do indicate possible first class at 0.40, depending on weight, and maybe someone has several parcels. And then the statement set up, the form that we use from BS&A, once everything is set, we send it out to KCI in a PDF computer format. That's $95, and the process and mailing of tax bills, two-sided with the free newsletter. They're giving us the back side. Any of the departments are welcome to add anything, so we get the free newsletter. That's $350. So a total of $1,295. And I did attach a copy of the newsletter that Nicole got ready for us, and it specifies everything about, for our residents, what they need to know. We have to have additional hours during the tax season. It gives you all the dates that we've already set up for that. So it gives you a lot of information. And like I said, anybody else that wants to add anything to it can. And I included a couple of the invoices from previous years. So you can see actually it's decreased in cost. So.
All right, if you get no response from the clerk's office or assessor's office or anybody else, can we have Nicole fix this so it fills up the entire page? Because this is a tax bill, and I would really like it to be totally the treasurer's baby.
Sure, we can do that.
And just make it so it's a little bigger print. Some of us are older. We need bigger print. And just take up the whole thing.
That was a preliminary one because I sent out an email to everybody. So
The information is very good. All right, I would make a motion to approve sending a check and completing or at least starting the obligation contract with KCI so that Kathy can send out the tax bills.
I'll second the motion.
All right, we're spending money. Is there any further discussion? Everybody understand what's going on? Mm-hmm. Okay, all in favor signify by saying aye. Roll call vote, please.
Mary Agnes.
Yes.
Sue.
Yes.
Tom.
Yes.
Kathy.
Yes.
Sherry. Yes.
Very good. Motion carried. What do we got here now? All right, we got number 14, which was an add-on. There's 4 invoices for figure out where I did it. There they are. There's 4 invoices from Huron Consultants that didn't come in until after, as Angie was leaving for the day. That was her last day. Tom, you want this? I did get them emailed over to Chris Hilton, who is our DPW inspector, he saw no problem with them. He did ask that we try and get a date as when we can get that modeling delivered here. I texted Mr. Eric Osling. He was supposed to be here this evening, but he had car trouble. He said if I needed him, I could call him, but he didn't answer my text before I came to the meeting. So that was the last thing I was doing there. So I don't have an answer for Chris or yourself as to when that's going to arrive here, but he did approve each invoice individually for a grand total of $12,218. So I would need a motion to approve these 4 invoices for May to Huron Consultants.
And this is all paid by the SAW grant.
Yes, it is. It's all reimbursed. All right, I would make a motion to approve 175545 in the amount of $3,545.25. Invoice number 175546 in the amount of $4,847.75. Invoice number 175547 in the amount of $663. Invoice 175549 in the amount of $3,162 for a grand total of all 4 invoices of $12,218 to Huron's Consultants. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Okay, we have a second by Kathy. We're spending money. All in favor signify by saying aye on a roll call vote, please.
Tom?
Oh, man. We got anything from them yet that we can look at?
No, nothing yet, and that's what the modeling is for, and that's what Chris wants. So I will get with him first thing in the morning and see when that can arrive. I know you're interested in looking at it, I am too.
Keep giving the money, we just don't see nothing for it.
Time's getting shorter.
Well, we've got things, we have to have this wrapped up by September, so.
Yeah.
or
He's been
October.
out here every week,
Yeah.
every day.
Yeah,
Eric
he's
has.
been coming here quite a bit, so he's doing his due diligence. It's just we have to just get things.
Didn't we got the laptop?
We got the laptop computer.
Program, and
That's all set up. I think
Yeah.
High Tech came out and fixed that, didn't they, or put it together?
Yeah.
Yeah. So we're
So
in
we
good
did
shape.
get the laptop, so we can
Oh,
see
yeah.
some of the movies
He's-
of the sewers and that type of
Yes.
thing.
Yeah, as soon as we
Yes.
get it, as soon as they give us something to use.
Should they ask me first?
Well, I'll start at this end. Susie?
Sue?
Yes.
Mary Agnes?
Yes.
Kathy?
yes.
Sherry? Yes. Tom?
No, just because.
Just because? That works with kids, don't it?
Can't stop now.
Well,
All right, motion carried, 4-1 in favor. All right, let's see here.
And that's complete this October, right?
It's gotta be done by
Or else
October.
you're right.
We have to pay it all back, so that's why he's kind of in a
Right.
rush. He's gotta get things moving, so. He's really working, so. Okay, I don't think there was anything else we had to add. Let's see what we got for, we're gonna have to go into closed session for that legal thing, and then, public comments. Do we have anything about anything, not only just what was discussed this evening, but any complaints or and there's Mr. Barnes.
Yes, on my favorite subject, the fire department. I would like, when we have the special meeting, I would like to know what's involved in this millage rate as to how are we coming in the process of billing these people for their fire services, and how are we prepared to be sure that if they don't pay it, it goes on their tax bill? And not tonight, but when we have the general meeting, maybe somebody can think about that and let me know what's going on there.
Well, there is an ordinance, and it is set up that if it's something that takes place on a piece of property, that we are able to put a lien on it. The only time you can put those on is at the November, the December 1st tax bill. Sherry, maybe what you could do if you get a chance, pull all the invoices that you have received from the fire authority, how many you've invoiced and how much you've collected.
Okay.
And then we'll check and verify it with the deputy clerks or deputy treasurer, so she can tell you what's come in.
I'd appreciate that.
Okay?
Have there been a lot of them?
There's only been two that have been paid, I can tell you that off the top of my head.
Okay, all
Out of-
right. It's usually around between 7,000 and 8,000 that we get, you know, from that, so.
Yeah, that's just since we've taken over because the rest were from that other company
That,
that's
yeah,
collecting for
Acumen.
us.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, anyone else have anything they'd like to ask the board or make a statement or? No? Okay, we have a,
Are you,
oh, I'm, oh, I thought she was waving at me.
No, I just had a question.
Sure, go ahead, Barb.
The insurance agent coming to Cottrellville,
Yes, that was my next thing I was gonna
10:30 a.m.?
announce.
Can you tell me why he's coming and why it's at 10:30? Is it,
Well, because we've been
Because he
setting up
doesn't
meetings
work
for
it.
6 months and things keep,
getting changed?
yeah, and we have a deadline, we have to accept his description of things that he's doing for us, and I've got some questions, so, and 10:30 in the morning on a Monday, we're here all day anyway, so, we can, you know, we'll have minutes to that meeting if you wanna, if there's anything specific you want us to ask, get us those
I
questions.
just wondered why it was coming. I didn't know.
Well, it's just a renewal of
Just a
our
renewal?
policy, yeah, and I like to see them face to face, cause,
Right.
you know, I have,
With all these.
I'm sure that's the way Tom likes to do it too. I'll take notes.
That's why I'm here. So, with all these increases that the board is gonna be asking, off the top of your head, how much money is that bringing in for the year?
Well, I'm gonna get it all on a spreadsheet so you can see it, and once we discuss it at these workshops, if we can get it all done in one, that would be great, if not, you know, we'll try and have it in an evening if it works for Tom.
That's good. So residents can
Yeah.
listen and
Well, yeah,
understand.
because you people bring so much to the table here that, I like to get your input.
Right,
So-
and maybe, hopefully, we can start maybe putting the agenda packet for the regular board meetings online, because it wasn't up until, was it Monday? So it's like, you're reading and it's like, oh my God, and you'd like to do a little bit of research. And that's how the special meeting was though, too.
Yeah, well, some of it is not, you know, if I don't get it done till like Saturday afternoon, unless I call the clerk and have her come in and do it, I could do that, I
It's
suppose.
okay with me, I mean.
Yeah, I know it would be okay with you. You're not the clerk.
maybe with all of us here now too, because there was changes. I mean, I know it's happened before, but
Right.
maybe we can, you know, work on getting that.
Well, I'm gonna try and get the budget,
It's hard.
get the actual agenda in draft to you guys on Monday of the week that I need it. But I need all the paperwork
Right.
that's going in there, I mean, like by Wednesday, because if I could get it all done by Wednesday, then Thursday, then Sherry
Right.
can do her job. But when I don't get it till Friday, and then I have to come in Saturday and Sunday, I worked Saturday and Sunday from 6 in the morning till noon both days, to get it all ready and put together, and then I took it and dropped it off to the two trustees, and the girls got theirs when they come in
Okay.
Monday morning, so.
And
But that is a good suggestion, Barb.
Okay,
We'll
and the only
try and
other
do that.
comment I had was when you guys were doing the budget for 2017-18, and you took Shortcut Road off for that 45,000, we had a, what do I want to say?
Deficit?
We have one now, so that doesn't matter. No, we did a resolution on that, did we not?
Yes. And I had to
So-
withdraw it.
Right, so the resolution, like, really was no good.
Nope.
So these may not be any good.
When we did the first meeting, when Mary Agnes and Angie were calculating, it was my understanding that that was the amounts that were calculated, that we agreed upon at that meeting, the 501, the original resolution. But then, prior to the May 10th meeting, when I recalculated everything, I noticed there was a discrepancy, and it was showing that we were over.
No, I'm just saying about the 45,000.
Oh, right.
You know, there was a resolution, and it was like, well, didn't we put that money aside? I don't know.
No, it
No,
doesn't get
no.
put aside, that had to be pulled
Got
out of
it.
the,
Right.
either out of the
We took it
fund
from-
balance, or it was gonna
we-
be with whatever we collected.
Got it.
We took it out as a we had to take it out because we were over 45.
Yeah,
So
Okay,
we
the
had
last
to
question I
reduce
have.
it.
yeah, that's the first thing that they cut,
And the
so.
last question I have is, on the settlement conference you're talking about, can you tell us which lawsuit that is?
Yes, it's one with, where Michael Zorin, Kyle Sunday, and Austin Adams versus Township of Cottrellville, Kellyanne Lisco, also known as Kellyanne Facelli Lisco, also known as Kellyanne Facelli. It's case number 13-001841-C like Charles, Z like zebra. None of the people on this board had anything to do with that. I don't think, Tom, you weren't on, were you? You weren't
No, I got
supervisor,
fired.
deputy supervisor, you got fired?
But I thought we settled that.
Well, there's a bunch of stuff that took place but there's a settlement agreement that I have to go over, and there's only the one copy, and we're going to discuss it quick and get an answer, and it has to be in by a certain time in order for, them to accept this agreement, so.
Okay, thank you.
Okay? Yes, ma'am.
Are you also interviewing with other insurance companies?
No,
No,
not at this time.
because I'm very disappointed in the Gandolfi insurance. That was the company that we investigated the 2015 flood in the basement. They, without checking it first, I don't know if they got pictures, they didn't tell us, but there was some questions about that. The check was paid, the check was written from the township and then reimbursed to the township. And Barb and I had investigated and took pictures, and we really felt that it wasn't what it was led up to be. A lot of the papers in the basement are all wrinkly. If that was a flood from then, and there was a flood back in October of 2014, because I remember Kelly calling me about that and what I was going to do with the books. We had a bookshelf that was missing. There was all this stuff done, and Gandolfi's response was that it's too hard to investigate. It's only $20,000, and it's our insurance. We paid it out. We felt that there was something not right about it, and nobody wanted to even check it any further. Plus, they never saw the damage. They never actually saw the damages to the basement, and they paid it without seeing the damage. That's very disturbing. There was a whole list of disturbing things that we brought up and sent to them, and they didn't even respond with, we'll check into it, anything of that sort. So it's just real questionable, and I'm just disappointed to have them as an insurance company, just because of that. So.
Well, I agree with you, but we are very close to being, we don't have time to shop right now. He was breaking the times that he could get here, and then we finally got this settled down, so we're gonna probably take him one more year, but then we're gonna have a discussion about, because that $20,000 is probably gonna escalate our rates over a period of,
Sure.
5 years. They're gonna ask for that money back.
Sure.
Plus, the $50,000 that it cost us to defend Kelly Facelli. That's something that will come back and hit us in the face as well. We're gonna have to carry that ball for probably 5 years too, so. It's
Didn't
very
Ga-
expensive when you use your insurance. It's
Didn't Gandolfi also merge with somebody else?
not that I'm aware of.
Okay, I thought
No,
maybe
this
merged
is
with somebody.
the son and the dad, and I know John. I know who he is. And there's a young son that's coming up too, so.
Yeah, it was
but
very
we'll,
disappointing because they felt that it was only $20,000. Well, it was paid out in our name, and I felt that it should have
agree.
been checked further.
I agree.
Because if somebody is committing a crime with reporting something that wasn't there, then it should have been investigated. And
When I
why
asked-
should we have to pay for something that maybe was,
When I
not
asked, it was
right.
pretty much told to me that you weren't supervisor then, so, almost like mind your own business, so. But we'll bring it up at the meeting when we do, this
Yeah, if I have a
discussion
chance,
with him.
I'll come and bring my information that we investigated, because I would like a response from him.
Yeah,
Even though it's not on camera, I like to respond.
Okay, thank you, Pat.
Quick, you know that,
Sure.
the increases that you're giving the sewer for the years, does that have anything to do with the sewer stations?
Yes.
Okay, that's what I wanted to know, because you didn't say it.
Well, some of it is just rates. I think we may have to look at something, you know, because we're gonna have to replace those pretty soon.
They're very
But-
expensive.
But the thing is, the company that we're dealing with right now has offered to give us like a rental agreement. And then in 5 years or 7 years or whatever the length of the rental agreement is, it'll flip into, they'll change everything out and we'll start all over again and we'll start another, just like we do our copy machine. You know, every 5 years you rent it and then at the last year you can buy it for $1. But then you've gotta, you know, after it's been used for 5 years, you gotta start putting money in it. So then we just switch it out and we start all over again. And that's the kind of an agreement that we're working with for these stations because they're gonna be $50,000 a crack otherwise. And if we don't have to pay for that money up front and we can lease the stuff that goes in there for a period of time, I think that'll be a better bang for our buck, but. Okay? Anybody else got anything to say? All right, then I guess we will close this meeting for a few minutes and then we'll go into closed session and then we'll open her back up and let her rip. Okay? Okay, 9:27 is, we'll recess for a little while and then we'll come back. Are you leaving or are you staying? You're leaving? Okay, is everybody leaving?